Hello, this is Kevin Thomas, and welcome to the At Home Film Festival. This week we are looking at 7 great directors who were first great actors. To narrow the field, I'm avoiding movies like this, Monsieur Verdoux, with Charlie Chaplin, because he was always a writer, director, producer. He was an auteur. So I'm cutting all of those off the list. I'm just doing people that started off acting and then switched to directing. I'm also trying to make it their film debut, because it's hard to narrow it down to just 7. So it's their directorial feature film debut. It can't be a documentary, and it can't be something from TV. It's an impressive first movie that they made. So since we're not going to do Charlie Chaplin or other great auteurs like him, who do we have in mind? Let's go take a look now. I want to start off with one that blew me away from the beginning, Ordinary People, directed by Robert Redford, who won the Oscar for this. It also was Best Picture. We all knew that Robert Redford was the Hollywood leading man heartthrob of the 70s and late 60s. But when Ordinary People came out, he really surprised me. This movie I find flawless from start to finish, and I am glad he got the Oscar. And looking at it today, it's not even dated. As the years have gone by, many people think Best Picture and especially Best Director from 1980 should have been Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull. But I still am the big fan of this movie, Ordinary People. It got Mary Tyler Moore her first and only Oscar nomination. I just remember I got smitten with this film right from the beginning. In fact, let's go down memory lane and look at the beginning of this film and notice how beautifully photographed it was right from the start. And also it's great acted, great directed, great story. Anyway, let's take a look. Simple music, canon in D minor. See, even in these beginning scenes, you see it's a beautiful town. It could be our town, it could be your town. And then we slowly go to the school. We meet some of the characters like Elizabeth McGovern right there. And then this is where it starts. We learn that there's more to this town than the picturesque streets that we've seen. And we, with the great direction of Robert Redford and the terrific cast, will go beneath the surface and learn secrets from characters like that, played by Timothy Hutton. Catch this for a few dollars on Prime. Do it. You don't have to ask me twice to show a scene from a Barbra Streisand movie. But Yentel was her directorial debut. And yes, I do love it. I'm a Barbra fan. But Steven Spielberg said that this film is the best directorial debut since Citizen Kane. And Barbra was the first woman ever to win the Golden Globe for Best Director. And since I've shown this movie before, I'm now showing some scenes that were outtakes from the film. But this movie did get 5 Oscar nominations, none of them for Barbara, which was a travesty. But it's a really good story. And she learned as a director, who she also, by the way, co-wrote, produced, and sings all the songs, that she too had to make compromises. She did not want to make this a musical, but the studio would not have such an old-fashioned love story about the Jewish religion without Barbara having to sing. So with the writers of the songs, they were able to make Barbara's interior monologue be songs. She's not just breaking out into songs, singing the Talmud. She is singing her inner thoughts and feelings as a woman as she's disguised as a man. You could find this movie for free if you got Max, so you should definitely try it out. Now let's go way back to the 50s and the movie Night of the Hunter. This film is so terrific. First of all, I love the black and white photography. Look how pretty that is. And it has Robert Mitchum as really a grifter, a criminal. He gets out of jail, he hears about some secret hidden money, so he pretends to be a religious figure to go to town to try to find that money that Shelley Winters has something to do with, and those 2 innocent children. By the way, the boy's a pretty good actor, the girl's really bad. But Robert Mitchum's amazing. And this film is often on the Criterion channel, like this, there's even a Criterion DVD of it. And this month it's definitely on TCM, so you should seek it out. And it's directed by an actor, Charles Laughton, who won an Oscar for acting in the 30s. This is the only movie he ever directed. And he showed a great keen eye. The way he sets up the shots is wonderful. He even brings Lillian Gish to get a meaty role, and she plays some tough old woman that tries to save those kids. Wow, this movie has so many dimensions, and it is so great that I am surprised that Charles Laughton didn't do more. Aren't you? And if you don't know who he is, look him up. Many of you have been probably watching Fatal Attraction because this is the month of Halloween. Well, before Fatal Attraction, Clint Eastwood made his directorial debut with Play Misty For Me in 1971. You could find it on Prime for free right now. He was a great 60s actor, Western hero, and he's gone on to win Oscars for directing, but he started out even with a winner. He plays a radio DJ. He has a fling with Jessica Walter, who should have been up for an Oscar. He has a longtime girlfriend, Donna Mills, who's a sweetheart. By the way, she usually plays bitches, so even getting her to play the sweetheart is great. But of course, just like Fatal Attraction, Jessica Walter doesn't leave the one-night stand alone. She becomes a stalker, psychotic. It's got everything you'd want in a thriller. And it introduced the world to the beautiful song, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. That was not written for this movie, but it became popular because of this movie, just like I Will Always Love You became popular thanks to The Bodyguard. Beautiful song, beautiful movie, suspenseful, scary. Oh, poor Donna Mills. Normally she's the one that's the villain, but look at poor her. Oh. Anyway, Play Misty For Me. Why don't you? Who would have ever thought Ben Affleck would have a great career behind the camera? He's got your Hollywood good looks as an actor. Yes, he did write and got fame for Good Will Hunting when he first started. But that seemed like a fluke, right? And he's been in so many leading roles. He's sexy, he's got charisma. So when he got behind the camera, it's like, whoa, there's a whole new Ben Affleck in town. His directorial debut was Gone Baby Gone, which you could find on Showtime. A lot of his movies take place in Boston, but he plays a cop that's helping try to find a missing girl, or is she? Gone Baby Gone. You really got to dig deep to find the true answers to this. He went on to direct The Town and Argo, so he's a director worth noting. And he still makes a lot of popular movies, and he's still credible on both sides of the camera. And he often brings along his brother, who we just saw there, Casey Affleck. I just think Casey was just lucky to be his brother to get all these roles, but then Casey won on his own and won an Oscar, so it's a talented family. And if you watch Gone Baby Gone, you will see all the talents in action. One of the early trailblazers, well, not that early, of female directors is Penny Marshall. We all grew up knowing her as Laverne and Shirley actress, and she made a lot of supporting roles. She was in The Odd Couple, the TV series, a great TV actress. Then all of a sudden she makes Big. It gets Tom Hanks his first Oscar nomination. By the way, it costs a few dollars to rent this, so look out for it. This movie is so terrific and fun, and you don't realize that here we got Laverne making movies as a director. I think she's been more successful as a director. She did the Academy Award nominated Best Picture Awakening. She did A League of Their Own. She's done a lot of movies that people don't realize she directed. But she's a great one. We should go watch all her movies, but let's start with Big, shall we? It's super funny. Oh. If we're going to talk about great actresses that became even better directors, let's talk about Regina King. She won an Oscar for acting. She was on a lot of TV series, but then she did One Night in Miami, which is this is her feature film directorial debut. She did a lot of TV directing and I think a documentary. But this movie got so much acclaim. It was up for 3 Oscars, I think. It has a fictitious story bringing together Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali. Great casting, a lot of the young Black actors that have now skyrocketed to even bigger success. She makes this movie tight and it just flows well. It's got good songs. It's well casted. It's great. And who would have known that it just came from her? But now we know who she is as a director. She's got a great style. I love this movie and a lot of her other work. So I applaud you, Regina. Thanks so much. That didn't take long to go through 7 great actors that became great directors, or 7 great directors who can act. As we leave, I want to remind you to share and to subscribe and give me comments. Also, I know I had to do 7, so it's hard to have cut anybody out, but I am leaving here with a Laurence Olivier movie with Marilyn Monroe. Laurence often directed his own films, so he really didn't qualify for this list. But The Prince and the Showgirls is one of his most overlooked films, so if you're going to keep watching directors who can act, check this one out. It's really funny. And if you read the behind-the-scenes things, like many other movies, Marilyn had a little trouble making it, but Laurence was very patient with her. And they both give really good performances in this lightweight film when he usually does the big, heavy dramas. So seek it out. Seek out all these movies. Give me comments and come back next week. Thanks so much.